we're going to do. So we're going to do questioning. So I realize I'm using the back. Can you guys hold on for 2 seconds? I remember I gave Mrs. Aubin this job, but I realized you can't see to start with. All right, so you are going to write questions. Because today we're going to learn about questioning. So we need a Q, U, E, S, T, I, O, N, questioning. I'm gonna call it questioning, even though these are questions. All right. I'm gonna let everybody get that ready. And I'm not sure, I can't see Mrs. Aubin, but Mrs. Aubin, are you recording now?
Okay, so type in the comments to your teacher.
I tried it. Where? Yes, I am recording if you can't see me.
I can't see you, so I need, thank you. All right. So give me a thumbs up when you've got that written. And then I'm gonna teach some. All right, perfect. Looking for some more thumbs because I think people are still writing. Questioning. All right, Charlie Carr's ready. Lyric's ready. Looks like Nixon's got it. Leo's ready. Astrea's ready. Wow. All right. Josh is ready and yawning. All right. Awesome. Gotta wake him up. All right. Jensen looks like ready. Finn's ready. Yeah. All right. What's going on there, Finn? Haley's ready. All right. Thank you, my friends. All right. So just for a moment, I am going to stop sharing for just a moment. All right. So today we're going to talk about questioning. And questioning, I'm going to put this here. All right. Is asking questions before we read, during our reading, and after our reading. Okay. And so I'm going to explain questioning like this. So we're going to learn all week. And next week, we're going to talk about some different reading comprehension strategies. And questioning is really great because it keeps your brain engaged while you're reading. So imagine this. When you're reading, we want you to be the driver of the book, of the reading, instead of being the passenger. So think about how that's different when you're the driver. So you've never driven a car probably because you're a third grader. But think about this: you might have driven something. How to when you ride a bike. Some of you ride bikes, and some of you maybe ride an ATV. So the idea is that you have to pay attention when you are the driver. You have to be paying attention to where you're going, don't you? You have to know if there are other cars around. You need to know if you get to the intersection, if someone else is coming, if you need to stop. You need to, if you're driving somewhere you've never been before, you need to look for directions and read street signs. And you really have to be engaged with the driving. There's so many things you need to be paying attention to. Now think about the passenger. When you're the passenger in the car, do you even have to pay attention to anything? No, you could fall asleep. You could be reading. You could be playing a video game, have something, in your hand you're playing. You could be just gazing out the window. Those are two very different things, aren't they? And we want you, when you're a reader, when you're a third grade reader, you need to be a driver. You need to be paying attention as you go. You can't just be riding along as a passenger, just reading words and not thinking. Because questioning is a great way to, as you're reading a book, whether it's a picture book or a chapter book or a nonfiction book of any sort, you have to engage your brain like the driver. You have to be paying attention. And so one of the ways you can help your brain be trained for that is by doing questioning. So today I am going to read you a story, and we are going to actively practice asking questions before we read, asking questions during the book and also thinking about questions after we read. And you're going to be writing questions that you're thinking of on your piece of paper while I'm reading, okay? But you're also going to be putting them in chat, okay? You're going to be putting them in the chat. If you come up with a really good question, Mrs. Aubin is going to pipe in with the questions that she sees. And if you aren't sure what kind of questions to ask, then maybe your, one of your classmates will start the ball rolling in chat, and then you can add those to your ideas. Okay. All right. So I'm going to
Can I say one thing, Mrs. Harrison?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a few kids that keep turning their video off, and then on, and then off, and then on. I don't want to say names. I don't want to embarrass anyone, but one of the things we have agreed upon is that we keep our video on at all times during our live lessons. So please turn your video on and keep your video on. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to make this, give me just a second, friends. Let's see if I could make this a little smaller so you can, oh, wait, don't go entirely. All right, I want you to be able to see the whole, oh, don't know why it keeps popping off. I guess because I touched it. All right, so The Stranger. And you see that? The name of this book is called The Stranger. And I want you to look at that picture and think about the title. And I want you to come up with a question that you are thinking about. So if you have a question, you can type it into the chat or you can write it on your piece of paper. Or do both. So I should see everybody writing on their paper. See some of you just sitting there. Got to be writing on that paper. Write a question that you're thinking about right now.
And just a reminder, kids, sometimes when you're thinking about questions, it might start with, I wonder, who, what,
Oh, I was just going to go over. Perfect.
So there's some little sentence starters that might help you get started. What are you wondering?
I'm going to put those right here. I wonder why, what if, I don't understand. This one probably isn't one we're using yet, but we might. I don't understand. I'm still confused about. Okay, those are some possible things you might be thinking about. Does anybody have a question so far that they wanted to put in the chat?
And if you have a good one, put it in the chat so I can read it aloud to the class. We're going to try that today. Try typing it into the chat. Don't worry about your spelling. I'll be able to read it. And then I'll share it with the class. I have from Logan Peters. He says, I wonder who made the book. I wonder who the characters are. Great questions for the beginning, for before reading. Thank you for sharing, Logan.
And as you're asking these questions, as I'm reading, you might get the answers. All right. Any other questions we're wondering?
Isabella has one. She said, why is he freaked out? I can tell you're inferring, Isabella, which we're going to talk about more.
Right. So I'm guessing that you're thinking about that from his facial expression, right? You're looking at the character on the front and seeing his face. And you're inferring he's freaked out.
Ellie has a question. Why is the stranger getting him soup? I have a question from Max. Who is the stranger?
Mm.
Another one from Logan Peters. I wonder when the book was made. Well, that makes me
Ah,
happy, Logan. And Jensen is saying, why is he in the house? Great questions.
great questions. I might answer
Keep them coming. As
one of those momentarily because, oh boy. All right, here's our first page there, and it says The Stranger by Chris Van Allsburg. All right, so there's the answer to the question about who wrote the book. Who's the author? Very nice. Chris Van Allsburg. And that was an excellent question to ask to begin, right? Because sometimes we know authors and we like the authors. There's certain authors that we like and that we want to read again. All right, and so here is the back of my paper. And so we said, I wonder how old the book is. Well, here we go. So the dedication is to my mother and father. And then here we have our copyright date. So it says 1986. 1986. So who can tell me how old? Yesterday's book was real close to that. So maybe you can use yesterday's ideas to come up with 1986. That's an answer to that question. How old is it? So we got an answer to our question, which is good. Who can tell me? Put it in chat. How old do you think that book is? 1986.
And I see that Ben was wondering who the illustrator is, and
Ah,
that was a great question. And if this, Logan again is wondering if this is if there's a movie of the book.
that's a good question.
So Nixon, do you want to share how old you think the book is? Go ahead and unmute.
34 years old.
All right, 34. So
Yeah.
if we are thinking about, so 86, if we count up to, so 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. So that would get us to 1990. And then if we add in, so now we're at 90, then we can count by tens, right? Because we're 2020. So then so we have 4 from 1990 up to 2000, that's 10. Then from 2000 to 2010, that's 20. 2010 to 2020 is 30. 30 plus that 4 that we had originally. Very nice. 34 years old.
Good job, Haley. Logan Peters got it as well.
Excellent. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start the book. I'm going to try to figure out how to show the pictures and read at the same time. My dock camera in this case is a little hard. All right. So I'm going to be reading the words and showing you the pictures, and you're going to be coming up with questions that you wonder as I read. All right. Okay. It was the time of year Farmer Bailey liked best, when summer turned to fall. He whistled as he drove along. A cool breeze blew across his face through the truck's open window. Then it happened. There was a loud thump. Mr. Bailey jammed on his brakes. Oh no, he thought, I've hit a deer. Adding questions to your list. Any new questions we can add to our list? I should see some writing. See some people who are just sitting. Active. You got to be a driver, friends. You got to drive that brain. Drive that brain. What are you wondering? Remember, I wonder. Here's our list again. I wonder. Why? What if? If you have a good one, you can share it with Mrs. Aubin.
It will.
Adding one to chat if you've got a good one. Anybody have a good question that they want to share? You can type it in chat. All right, did everybody get at least one question? Give me a thumbs up if you've got one.
And I have some to share.
Excellent.
Jensen, let's see, hold on. Noah, how did he not see the deer? Jensen, why is he in the forest? Isabella, where is he? Ben, I wonder how big the creek is and if there's fish in the creek.
I like looking at the details. Good job.
Josh Lewis, where are they?
Good.
I think this is Lear. It's a number. Lear. I'm not sure. Where are they at? Logan Peters. I wonder if he did hit something that was not a deer. What would he have hit? And Max, I wonder why he hit the deer. That's all I got.
Excellent. Those are all very nice questions. All right, we're ready for the next page. Here we go. All right, but it wasn't a deer the farmer found laying in the road. It was a man. Mr. Bailey knelt down beside the still figure, fearing the worst. Then suddenly the man opened his eyes. He looked up with terror and jumped to his feet. He tried to run off, lost his balance, and fell down. He got up again, but this time the farmer took his arm and helped him to the truck. All right, what are you thinking now? So we answered one of the questions that we had earlier with why didn't he see the deer? Well, we found that it wasn't really a deer, was it? So what questions do we have now?
I have from Jensen, how did the farmer not see him? And
Good
then
one.
Logan Peters, I wonder if that is the stranger. Isabella's wondering, what's his name?
Good. All great questions. Anyone else?
Remember to type your question in the chat box if you would like to share. Ben has a question. Is he dead? Please say no.
Good question. And you know what's great about this is sometimes, I mean, again, we're trying to keep our brains active when we're reading because that makes you a better reader. And what's great about it is every time you turn a page, you get a possible answer to that further question. It also keeps you engaged in the book so that you keep wanting to read.
Okay, we have more engagement. Lila Morris wants to know, why is he there? Gavin wants to know, why is he a stranger? Ellie's wondering, why is he helping him to the truck? Max wants to know, is the man the stranger? Jensen is wondering, what is in the tree that's glowing? Good detail.
Good details, yep.
And Josh Lewis is wondering, will he be okay?
Very good questions. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one. Here we go. All right, Mr. Bailey drove home. He helped the stranger inside, where Mrs. Bailey made him comfortable on the parlor sofa. Katie, their daughter, peeked into the room. The man on the sofa was dressed in odd, rough leather clothing. She heard her father whisper, "Must be some kind of hermit, sort of fellow who lives alone in the woods." The stranger didn't seem to understand the questions Mr. Bailey asked him. "I don't think," whispered Mrs. Bailey, "he knows how to talk." Okay, what questions come to you now? I see some busy writing. Good job. Here's our sentence starters again. I wonder why. I don't understand.
I'll read some from the chat, and then Mrs. Harrison, would it be okay if I just called on a couple kids to raise their hand and share out loud?
Yeah, you certainly can.
Okay, so I am going to quickly just read Jensen. Why is the girl have a doll on the stairs? Logan Peters, does he live somewhere? Ben, is that girl scared? And Jensen, why is she on the stairs? And then I wanted to hear from Robert. What question have you had so far? Can you unmute and just share one question you're wondering about?
I asked, is he dead, in the chat box, but no one answered.
Okay, I didn't see it. I will keep looking. Yeah, for some reason, maybe you didn't hit enter. But I'm glad you have a good question there. I would love to hear from Henrik. Henrik, can you share a question you have so far? Can you unmute, Henrik, and share?
Why does she have a creepy doll on the stairs?
A lot of people are wondering that. Thank you for sharing. How about August? Can you share a question? You'll have to unmute.
Yes. Who is the stranger? Who is the stranger? And I typed something in the box, but I didn't know how to send it.
Okay, so when you type in the box,
You just have to hit enter after you finish your sentence.
that's what you're missing. And maybe that's what happened with Robert. I see
Okay.
a lot of hands up. If your hand is up and you really want me to share your question, see if you can type it in there. Again, don't worry. I'm only seeing it. It looks like most of these are private, so I'll be the one to see it, nobody else. So don't worry about spelling. Do your best. I'm going to ask one more. Charlie V. What was your question?
My question was, why was he wearing leather clothes?
Leather clothes. That is odd, isn't it? It's a good question.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Harrison. You can continue.
Yep, I'm going to go on to the next one. Here we go. Are you ready? All right, Mr. Bailey called the doctor, who came and listened to the stranger's heart, felt his bones, looked in his eyes, and took his temperature. He decided the man had lost his memory. There was a bump on the back of his head. In a few days, the doctor said, he should remember who he is and where he's from. Mrs. Bailey stopped the doctor as he left the house. He'd forgotten his thermometer. Oh, you can throw that out, he answered. It's broken. The mercury is stuck at the bottom. So I'm going to give you a little tiny bit of schema about thermometers while you're thinking about things. Just because thermometers nowadays are very different than thermometers in the olden days, back when I was a kid. So now we're used to electronic, you just touch a button. In fact, when you come into school, those of you who are coming in person, you're going to get your temperature taken every day. But it'll be done with an electronic thing that doesn't have to touch you. But in the olden days, you had to take your temperature with a thermometer, and you usually stuck it under your tongue. And it had what we call mercury in it. And mercury moves up and down depending, it expands, and then therefore it would go up on the thermometer if you had a higher temperature. And if you had a lower temperature, then the mercury would shrink and it would be lower.
So Mrs. Harrison, I see a common question in the chat box. What is a hermit?
Ah, good question. So and in that one, I think Mr. Bailey answered that a little bit. A person who lives alone out somewhere in the woods, but I don't know that a hermit has to live out in the woods, but that's a good question. If Mrs. Harrison wasn't here and we weren't having a discussion together, that would be a great opportunity to look in a dictionary for the word hermit.
And I have a question from August. Is he homeless?
Nice. Good
And
question.
I was gonna let Ellie, was it Ellie? Ellie wanted to share real quick. Can I hear from Ellie?
Excellent.
It was on the page where the stairs are. The girl on the stairs.
Okay. What was the question?
Why is there a pillow by the doll?
Pillow by the doll, like here.
Good question.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, my friends, before we move on? Did everybody get at least one question written for that page? Okay, I've got, yeah. Oh, no, I got a couple of no's. Try to see if you can come up with one question per page. Here's those questioning.
And those fans are not broken inside. Me doing this.
I wonder, why, what if, I don't understand.
While we're waiting, Cooper, do you want to share one?
Why is he using his thermometer if it's broken?
Ah,
I don't think it was broken in the beginning, was it, Mrs. Harrison?
well, it seems to imply that it's now broken. Didn't
After
say-
he used
Yeah, after he used it.
stranger. That might be a little clue.
Yeah. All right. Hey, this picture looks familiar. Now let's hear the text that goes along with it. Here we go. Mr. Bailey lent the stranger some clean clothes. The fellow seemed confused about the buttonholes and the buttons. In the evening, he joined the Baileys for dinner. The steam that rose from the hot food fascinated him. He watched Katie take a spoonful of soup and blow gently across it. Then he did exactly the same. Mrs. Bailey shivered. "Brr," she said. "There's a draft in here tonight." Can everybody pretend that they're having some soup? An imaginary spoon and blow on it? Show me what that would look like. Hot soup, right? All right. So think about that. What questions does that arise for you?
We have, why did the stranger take a temperature? Why is there tea or milk? That's about all I've gotten so far.
Okay. So when we said earlier, freaked out, so it seems like they used a different word. Instead of freaked out, they used the word fascinated. So maybe that answers the question from earlier. Why is he freaked out? Well, it wasn't he was freaked out, even though that was a good inference of what he looks like. He's actually just amazed and wondering what he sees there. Sunny, do you want to share one of your questions with us? Go ahead.
How did the thing break?
Why did it break? How did it break? Very good.
And I
Thank
think
you.
we might find the answer to that as we continue to read.
Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and move on because we want to get some other things here. So I'm going to keep going. I'm only going to do half of the book today and then we're going to continue this again tomorrow. So that's why I had you put this in your spiral. So here's the next picture. Here we go. The next morning, Katie watched the stranger from her bedroom window. He walked across the yard toward two rabbits.
I need to tell you something.
Instead of running into the woods, the rabbits took a hop in his direction. He picked one of them up and stroked its ears, then set it down. The rabbits hopped away, then stopped and looked back as if they expected the stranger to follow. That gives me lots of questions. That's a strange way for the bunnies to react, isn't it?
So I have some questions. Why does he not know what steam is? What kind of soup is it? How did he lose his memories? Those are just a few.
Excellent.
Gavin, do you want to share?
I need to tell you something.
I'm not sure who's saying they need to tell me something. Who is that?
That's Charlie.
Charlie V, do you want to share real quick and then we'll come back to Gavin? Sorry, Gavin.
I need to tell somebody. I'm going in 2 days on a road trip.
Yes, thank you for letting us know. We did hear that from your mother. We will miss you. Okay. And now, go ahead. We were letting Gavin share, right?
Yes, we were.
Gavin?
I have a baby goat,
Oh, it looks like you're making connections.
and it's like time for me to feed the goat.
Oh, okay. Well, this video will be posted in Google Classroom. So you
All right, I'm going to move on to the next one, Mrs. Auden, so we can get going here. All right, here's our next picture. When Katie's father went into the fields that day, the stranger shyly tagged along. Mr. Bailey gave him a pitchfork, and with a little practice, he learned to use it well. They worked hard. Occasionally, Mr. Bailey would have to stop and rest, but the stranger never tired. He didn't even sweat. What questions does that make you think of?
We have quite a few in chat. Ellie's wondering, why did the bunnies look back? August is wondering, do the bunnies know him? Lila Morris said, why did he stroke the bunny's ears? Jensen's wondering, why are the horses holding hay? Elena wants to know, why did he not sweat?
Those are all really great questions, aren't they?
And I think Ellie's wondering, is he a human? I think I read that right.
Love that question. So we have a lot of good I wonders and whys. We could even start maybe what ifs. I don't understand. Some of those for sure. They're all very good. So you guys are being drivers. You're thinking about what's happening in the story. You're not just reading the words and turning the pages. That's a passenger. Passenger reads the words and just turns the pages and waits for the story to reveal itself. You guys are being great drivers. You're looking for clues, you're wondering things, you're noticing things you might not have noticed if you just were turning the pages, right? If you're a passenger, sometimes you don't even notice until you get there. All right, I'm gonna move on one last page for today, and then we'll come back to it tomorrow. Here we go. So one grand finale question at least, my friends. That evening, Katie sat with a stranger watching the setting sun. High above them, a flock of geese in the perfect V formation flew south on the trip that they made every fall. The stranger could not take his eyes off the birds. He stared at them like a man who'd been hypnotized. All right, everybody should have one more grand finale question, if not more.
I'm wondering how many people have started their sentences with a capital letter and put a question mark at the end.
Oh, yes.
Take a look at your work. If you haven't put question marks at the end, you might want to add those in. It's a skill from second grade that you probably remember. Some of you might automatically do it, but sometimes we have to go back and edit our work.
Right.
Capital letter at the beginning of your sentence, and maybe Mrs. Harrison can show us what a question mark looks like.
I was just grabbing my pen. Here we go. So if you start here, about halfway through the between the two spaces, come down, and then it has a dot at the end. Here we go. Question mark. Question mark. Now, I don't understand blank. That would probably be a period because that's more of a statement. I'm still confused about, that's also another statement. So that would have a period at the end. But you're still thinking, you're still using your questioning, even if you have a statement sometimes. You're looking for you're looking for the answers as we go on.
Elena's wondering, is he daydreaming? It looks like Sawyer's wondering why was the kid sitting with the stranger?
Okay, I see lots of active listening right now and writing right now. Good job.
Robert, did you have a quick question?
Why was the cat sniffing the stranger's butt?
Maybe.
I don't think from the picture he's there. I think he's over here, but we could ask a question about the cat for sure. I think he's just standing next to him. I see Haley has her hand up. Haley, do you have a question you want to share? Haley Calendar?
Why could the stranger not keep his eye off of the bird?
Ah, off the geese. Good question. Very nice. All right. So we're Lyric, I see that you have your hand up.
Why is he not tired?
Why is he not tired after all that hard work, right? The author is giving us some very interesting clues. It's a bit of a mystery, isn't it? A little bit of mystery about the thermometer and about the steam and about the birds and about not being tired. Those are all really good clues that we're hopefully they're going to help us tomorrow for sure. Good job. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you're feeling really pretty good about questioning. If you're getting really good at asking questions, give me a thumbs up if you think you're becoming a questioning expert.
So Robert, can you tell me why your thumb is down? And remember, no food during our Zoom lessons. Let's keep the food for lunchtime, or you can eat before you come to school, okay? Thanks, buddy. Why is your thumb down, hon?
Because I wasn't able to keep watching to find the rest of the questions, so I didn't know what to do.
So, Robert, can I make a suggestion? Maybe if you find a place where you can sit down in front of your computer and watch the screen and try to avoid the distractions, that might help you. Are you able to hear Mrs. Harrison? So here's what I'd like you to do. When this is finished, watch the video again and see if that helps. And on your directions, be sure to read them because it'll give you sentence starters on how to do your assignment. Okay, bud?
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this up for the moment. I'm going to go ahead and shut the pictures off. So what we're going to do now is I want to show you what your assignment's going to be today. So you're going to keep that first thing tomorrow morning. We're going to need that list of questions again. Okay. So make sure that you have that with you. All right. So today, when you go into Google Classroom, once we're finished here with our lesson, you're going to go to your classroom and your classwork. And underneath classwork, you're going to find today's assignment that says questioning the stranger and Thursday. Today's Thursday. Questioning the stranger is what you're going to open up, and then you're going to see the directions. Join and participate in the live lesson at 9:30. After the lesson, read the assigned book, Seal Song in Epic, and then answer the questions on the Google form. Remember to click submit when you are finished. Okay, so you'll notice that there are we have 3 things here for you to click into. The first one is the Epic login. And I'm going to click on that in a moment. And everybody probably, if your computer should probably keep the little code that needs to go in, but if for some reason it does not keep that code, then if it doesn't remember it, then this one right here will show you the code again. Here, look at that, big letters, numbers. So you can find the code there, because I know that was frustrating for a lot of people for the last time we were in Epic. But I'm going to go ahead and here's a Google form. I'm going to show you that in a minute. But first, we're going to go to our login. I'm just going to show you. You're going to click on that. And then you probably have something that looks like this. Select your class. If not, go ahead and put in that code, or it might take you directly to that page. What I would do is I would put Epic as a bookmark. So what I would do is I would go up to the bookmark space here, and I'd highlight it so that the whole thing is highlighted. And then if I drag it down to my bookmarks, see how I did that? Poof, there it is, right there. So I'll show you again. So when you click on Epic, it's going to take you to the page, and then you highlight it. Yeah, and that way I highlighted it. I'm just putting you're gonna click down as you drag your finger. You need kind of 2 fingers, and you just highlight it, and then you pull it down, and then when you let go, it's going to appear in your bookmarks, and now you'll always have it in your bookmark. Now it goes there when we clicked on the assignment, it will take you to the page. You don't have to bookmark it, but if you bookmark it when you're not with Mrs. Harrison, you don't always have to go to Google Classroom to find it. Like if you just want to read one afternoon and you don't want to go to Google Classroom, it'll be across here so you can find it. So you're going to be in here. I'm going to go ahead and click on that and get in our classroom. Mrs. Aubin and Mrs. Harrison assigned you a book. So then you go ahead and find your name, and I'm going to click as if I'm a student, and it's going to take you to a page. And oh, this message appears. And this message appears, says Lori Harrison sent you a book. Check it out. Today you're going to check it out. But you'll notice that over here in the mailbox, there's a 1, and it's like in pink or red. So if you accidentally clicked out of this instead and forgot to hit check it out, then you could go to your mailbox and it's in your mailbox as well. Okay? But I'm going to go ahead and click check it out, and it's going to take you to the story that we want you to read today. Okay? So you're not just going to read any book today. You can read a book after, but you need to read Seal Song today. And I'm going to get rid of, okay, so push this away. So you're going to see the book right here. And it's just like I had a real book, and you have an arrow so you can go to different pages. And this book, where's the part where it can talk to you, Mrs. Aubin? Oh, here, if you click here, see how there's a triangle? If you find that when you're reading, this is not a just right book for you, if this book seems to be a little hard for you, then it will do a great thing. It will read it to you, because we want everybody to read through this book, the whole book. So if I hit the
work
play,
done, the boy hid on the cannery wharf. Finn, Finn, his father called. Finn.
Okay, and so on. It will read the whole page for you. Here is that place where you can hit play. Now, if this is a just right book for you, or a book that's easy for you, then we expect you to read it on your own. But then you're going to go from page to page until you complete the entire book. Okay? When you finished the entire book, you will be able to exit out. Okay? And when I hit the Epic button, it gave me a new tab. So I can go back to the tab that is back here, and you're going to see a Google form, because while I was reading the story, I should have also been doing what? I should have been a driver, and I should be practicing my questioning skills. All right? I need to be asking questions before I read. So as soon as we got to that first page, we should have been going, I wonder, and coming up with questions. You don't have to write them down. You're going to put them in here, but you should be thinking about questions. If you would like to write them in your notebook as you go along to help you with your Google form, I would suggest that, because sometimes we forget, what was my question at the beginning? You could jot that down in your spiral and then put it in here. So you're going to ask, so the directions say, remember that you can use these sentence starters when asking questions. For example, I wonder, why did, what if, I don't understand, I'm still confused by. Those are in here to help you. So you're going to be thinking as you read Seal Song, what questions did you have before reading the book? What questions did you have while you were reading the book? And what questions do you have after you've read the book? Okay. And of course, our first question is to put your name. We need that so we know who turned in their assignment. Okay. So while you're reading, and you can toggle back and forth to the story. If you need to go back to the story, you can always go, you can have the story up as you answer the questions. You can have both of those up. If you want to do that, you could toggle back and forth, have some questions that you're adding in as you're reading. All right.
Hey, Mrs. Harrison, I think I'll stop the video, but we can
Perfect.
stay on for questions.
Yes.